Welcome back to Turkish series Stars, where whispers turn into stories and stories turn into the moments you can't stop replaying. Today, we're tracing a secret that wasn't supposed to be seen, a romantic escape that belonged only to two people who know the storm of fame all too well. This is the tale of Barış Arduç and Elçin Sengu slipping away from bright sets and louder rumors to a place where the ocean forgets to judge, where the light is soft, and where a single look says more than 1,000 interviews ever could. They planned it carefully, quietly, as if planning a heist on time itself. No entourage. No makeup trucks. Just luggage that didn't squeak with designer labels, a pair of passports, and a promise to keep phones on airplane mode longer than the flight required. By the time their plane lifted into the clouds, Istanbul shrinking into a puzzle of lights, both of them had leaned back and exhaled as if they were finally letting go of months of noise. The journey was long, the kind that forces reflection. Elçin watched the world through the oval airplane window, a painter's eyes softened by layered blues. Barış, more restless, tapped quietly at the in-flight map. Their silence wasn't empty, it was full of everything they didn't need to explain anymore. When the wheels met the runway of their island destination, the air itself felt new. Warm, salt-sweet, thick with the scent of frangipani and the hush of waves. They didn't announce themselves, they melted into the line at customs like any couple who'd promised each other they'd be unreachable. A driver who didn't recognize them carried their bags to a small, weathered boat. The kind that pitches and giggles with each wave. Barış found his balance instantly. Elçin laughed when a splash of spray hit her face and turned her hair wild. They weren't the leads of a primetime drama here. They were just two travelers choosing the same horizon. Their bungalow waited at the edge of the water, stilted, intimate, and stubbornly simple. No massive mirrors, no velvet chaise. A thatched roof, wide doors, linen that smelled like sun. The deck looked like a perfect postcard, and yet in person the sea wore colors no photographer could trap. Turquoise layered over jade, over a blue so deep it made you quiet. Elçin stood barefoot at the threshold, pressing her toes into the polished wood as if to claim it. Barış dropped the bags and reached for her hand, and in that small, ordinary gesture you could read the whole reason they were there. They almost forgot to unpack. They were pulled to the sand the way a magnet forgives the compass. The first print each foot left on the shore felt like a truce. They walked without destination, letting the foam curl around their ankles, and the rhythm of the water steadied whatever had felt chaotic on land. Laughter emerged unforced, quick confessions about the tiny things that had gone wrong on set, the stupid jokes they never had time to finish, and the old stories that somehow never got old when they were told here, where the wind could carry them away if they turned heavy. When you step onto a beach like that, the world quiets, and suddenly the smallest details become headlines: birds that sing unfamiliar scales, petals that look hand-painted, leaves that throw shade like soft curtains. They found a path lined in green that breathed with them. Every few steps, Elçin would kneel to touch a blossom she didn't know the name of, pretending she might take it home by memory alone. Barış would wander ahead, scanning for a lookout point like a boy scouting a fort. There was no rush, just the slow rehearsal of being present again. In the late afternoon they did something that felt like slipping into a dream: they snorkeled. Masks snug, fins tight, hearts beating that small excited tempo. When they tilted under, the world opened without sound. A city of coral rose beneath them, incalculable colors and careful architecture. Schools of fish chased sunlight, casting silver notes on the water's ceiling. A pair of clownfish peeked from anemone fronds like shy celebrities. A lobster crept sidewise, ancient and unhurried. Then, distant and calm, a reef shark glided like a rumor that wasn't meant to frighten but to remind: you're a guest here, be humble. They surfaced, faces breaking into laughter that almost looked like tears. "We're tiny," Elçin said, pulling off her mask. "Exactly," Barış replied, and his grin made the sky's colors look brighter. That night, they ate with their toes in the sand. The table was nothing more than two planks kissed with candlelight. A string of lanterns swayed, a moon the shape of a secret smile tucked above them. Plates arrived one by one, fish tasting of tides, fruit too sweet to be reasonable, a hint of chile that made them lean toward each other for the same glass of water. Their conversation moved the way the ocean did, never in straight lines, always returning to the place that felt like home. They talked about the art they still wanted to make, the scripts that felt honest, the scenes that cost too much, and the ones that healed. Between courses they fell silent and listened. Waves are the best kind of gossip. They tell you what matters and shrug at the rest. Morning found them with paddles in their hands. 2 kayaks slid onto the water like arrows that had forgotten to hurry. They moved in rhythm without needing to count. Every cove they discovered felt like a secret the island told only to them. White crescents of shore held out arms just long enough for a kiss of sun, then disappeared behind rock. They drifted into shade, the water cooling as if it suddenly remembered its depth. A turtle surfaced nearby, ancient and curious, eyes soft and certain. Barış raised a hand in greeting. Elçin pressed her palm to the water, and for a moment it felt like the three of them understood one another in a language without words. Later, they swam in a pocket of sea so still it reflected their laughter back like a mirror. Fish dappled around them in confetti patterns. Salt held them up, as easy as sleep. They floated until endings felt irrelevant, then climbed back into the boats and traced their way to shore, tanned and tired and happier than any caption could admit. Back at the bungalow, they fell onto the bed with wet hair and sandy feet and didn't apologize to the sheets. Another day, the island led them inland. A path thick with green, the kind of green that hums with life. The earth was soft, roots curled like old stories around their ankles. The sound of the waterfall came to them long before they saw it, a promise threaded through leaves. When they reached it, the world turned to glass and music. Water spilled into a pool so clear it could have been a secret held up to the light. They stepped in and gasped, the chill like a spell that erased weight. It wasn't a photo moment, though it was beautiful. It was a baptism of quiet. They held each other there, and whatever was frayed smoothed itself out without needing a single explanation. Every sunset taught them a new way to breathe. Some evenings the sky painted itself brazen, oranges loud as applause. Other nights it preferred gossip shades, pink murmurs, purple sighs. They sat and watched, fingers threaded, drinks sweating against their palms. When the sun dropped, they didn't chase the last light with phones. They let it go, trusting it would return. It always does. Sometimes that's all a relationship needs to remember. There was time for reading, too. Real reading, the kind that chooses you. Elçin claimed the hammock like a cat choosing a windowsill and dove into a novel she had been pretending to finish for months. Barış stretched at her feet, thumbing through a book about the sea he swore he wasn't going to take seriously, then underlined 3 sentences without meaning to. Words found them both. When the breeze lifted the page corners, it sounded like applause meant just for them. People on the island recognized them not as celebrities but as a pair who smiled with their whole faces. Locals offered stories the way islanders always do, generously, with hands that have learned the shape of giving. A fisherman pointed them toward a reef no map bothered to mark. A grandmother told them which fruit would forgive a sunburn faster than any lotion. The gift shop owner showed Elçin a bracelet braided from shells like whispered moons. None of it was grand, all of it mattered. Hospitality is an art that makes you feel like you've always belonged. Before they left, they gathered a handful of keepsakes that felt honest. A hand-carved turtle that fit in Barış's palm. The shell bracelet that matched the color of the water on that first afternoon. A small sketch Elçin made on the back of a receipt, 2 kayaks drawn with a line that didn't lift from the paper once. They didn't need more. The island had already packed the rest inside them. And what did it give them, really? Not just pictures. This journey braided adventure and stillness so tightly the rope could hold against any pull. It reminded them to be tiny in the best way. To be brave when the sea asks for humility. To eat slowly, to talk honestly, to laugh without proving it. It placed them back at the center of their own story, which fame sometimes snatches and edits without permission. When you leave a place like that, you don't shout. You say thank you under your breath, and you promise to carry the lesson until it unwraps itself in your life again. If you've been waiting for a sign to disappear together, to switch off the noise and switch on the sound of your own steps, consider this it. Paradise isn't just the scenery. It's the agreement you make to really see it together. Find the beach that lets you breathe. Jump into the water that humbles you. Paddle toward the cove no one else can find. Stand under a waterfall and let it rewrite what hurt. Watch the sky rehearse its favorite endings and remember they're rehearsals, not finals. And read the story beside you as carefully as you read the page. This escape didn't make Barış and Elçin a headline, it made them a promise. It's easy to be dazzling under lights, it's harder and truer to glow when no one's watching. On those islands, with only tide and wind as witnesses, they chose the glow. And it showed. They came back carrying a quiet that didn't require explanation. The sort of calm that changes the way you open a door, the way you laugh at breakfast, the way you hold a hand in a car at a red light. Thank you for drifting with us through their days and nights, through waves that kept their secrets and sunsets that told the truth. If their journey stirred something in you, let it grow. Tell us the place that healed you, or the one that's waiting on your map. Drop your thoughts below, we read them all. And if you want more moments like this, more stolen afternoons, more behind-the-curtain tenderness, tap like, share this with someone who needs a reason to say yes, and subscribe to Turkish series stars so you won't miss the next story that sneaks past the noise and goes straight to the heart. Until the next escape, keep listening for the ocean even when you can't see it. It's there, reminding you to return to yourself, and to the person whose hand feels like home.